Hello, my name's Simonize and welcome to another Simonize video. We've had lots of news in the past few days about Phase 4 Season of Discovery with raid information, new dungeons, loot, new runes, class adjustments, crafted items, and all kinds of stuff. Instead of trying to broadly cover all the news, in this video I'm going to focus on the one thing I'm most concerned about, that Molten Core is going to have different difficulty levels. I'm going to talk about why I think this is bad and how I think it should be changed to make it less bad. If you're interested in a more general news overview, I've linked Blizzard's announcement video as well as the class changes forum post in the video description that has that kind of information for you. First, let's cover exactly what we know about Molten Core's difficulty levels right now. Not all the relevant info is confirmed just yet. Blizzard has stated that the difficulty levels will offer increased quantity of rewards, not increased quality. That means you can see all the same items drop no matter what mode you choose, but you'll see more of them drop in the harder difficulties and thus be more likely to see the item you want. From a little bit of exploration on the public test realm, we can see an NPC at the start of Molten Core that offers dialogue options to enable Heat Level 2 or Heat Level 3. This suggests that there are 3 total difficulty levels: Normal, Heat 2, and Heat 3. And finally, the last bit of information we have is that in some of the posts where Blizzard has teased these higher difficulty modes, they've also suggested the need for fire resistance gear in Molten Core. And that's pretty much all that's confirmed about these harder difficulties. More loot, but not how much more. Harder, but not how much harder. And I guess we'll probably want some fire resist. Okay, let's talk about this. Fundamentally, multiple difficulty modes just doesn't feel appropriate for classic WoW to me. Challenging raid content is also not really part of the core experience in my opinion. Molten Core should just be Molten Core. If you want to make it harder, try to clear it in less than 30 minutes, or clear it with only 10 people, or whatever. A lot of people who legitimately wanted hard content did that as player-created hard modes in Classic Era without any reward incentive. When you attach increased reward to increased difficulty, players may feel compelled to do that content so they're not left behind or less powerful than others, even if they don't really want to be doing hard content. It isn't fun to feel left behind, nor is it fun to feel compelled to do something you don't really want to be doing. With a single difficulty for each raid like we've had so far, everyone feels like they're part of the same community and part of the same raid experience. If it were up to me, I'd axe this whole system, but that's probably not going to happen. Let's talk about 2 big things that are unknown currently and how they could work out to make the system better or at least less bad. One thing that is unclear is how much more loot are we even talking about? The more loot these hard modes reward, the more players will feel compelled to do them. If you lessen the reward, there are going to be fewer people who feel compelled to do them that don't really want to be doing them, and fewer people are frustrated about their inclusion in the game. Another thing that factors into the loot discussion is how many weeks of Molten Core can we expect before Blackwing Lair comes out. With a shorter time frame, getting more loot per clear is more important than with a longer time frame. So a shorter amount of time would increase the pressure players feel to do the hard modes to get the loot. Personally, for me, if the hardest mode only rewarded, say, 20 or maybe 25% more loot on average, I'd think twice about if it was worth whatever the extra effort ends up being. But if they've rewarded like 40 or maybe 50% more loot, I'd feel very strongly compelled to participate in the hard modes. I think a good change would be to make the hard modes reward things that are not directly related to player power. Things like mounts, titles, a tabard, or perhaps a convenience item like the teleport to Azshara item that was spoiled. The second big thing that is unknown is how hard are these increased difficulties. The more exclusive they are, the more people there will be who are prone to feeling left out or feeling like the game isn't for them anymore. I know that's how I felt clearing Heroic Lich King in Wrath. That was well beyond my difficulty limit for the game to still be fun for me. On the flip side, the more exclusive the hard modes are, the more prestige there is for the few players who do clear them. I think if Blizzard did cosmetic rewards instead of increased loot quantity and had higher difficulty, that might be okay. There's plenty of prestige to be had with a cosmetic reward like a cool mount. However, if the increased loot quantity remains, the hard modes should not be very exclusive in my opinion. If the hard modes were more of a preparation check than a skill check, I think that'd be more in the spirit of Classic. Classic to me has always been about more time investment equals more power and not really a highly skill intensive game. If you can grind it out, you can get ahead. A preparation check would be like requiring fire resistance for the hard modes, but otherwise they're not that different mechanically. All the bosses would deal some variety of increased fire damage, so if you farm and gather your fire resistance gear on all your raiders, the hard mode becomes about as challenging within the raid as the normal mode. With this type of system, you'd be fairly rewarded with increased loot for your increased preparation. But no part of that process is super exclusive in a way that would prevent a less skilled or knowledgeable player from participating. I think this would be better than having the hard modes be skill checks that end up excluding players, but at the same time might be kinda lame just wearing your resistance gear all the time instead of your sweet new fun epics. That's what I think overall about the introduction of hard modes to Molten Core. I think it definitely rubs me the wrong way and doesn't quite feel like the right fit for Season of Discovery. I think it is bad if players feel compelled to participate in the hard modes by the allure of increased player power rewards. If you make the rewards less significant, the presence of hard modes is less of a problem. If you make the hard modes themselves not very difficult, or you make them preparation checks rather than skill checks, you make the presence of hard modes again less of a problem. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you liked it and want to hear more from me, be sure to drop a subscribe on the channel before you go. If you want to see daily content from me, you can check out the Simonize Show TV channel linked in the description that has stream highlights and VOD uploads. I hope you're having fun in World of Warcraft, and I hope you have a great day.